Winter is coming. No, wait, actually, winter is here. So, why go outside if it's so cold? I got the best plans for you this winter season. What if I told you that you could make 5 figures a month, all from the comfort of your own home, by betting on sports? Well, my man Smith is doing just that. Today, he shares his story. What is up, guys? Welcome to today's podcast/interview. This is going to be a very interesting talk because my man over here, Smith, is doing something very, very delicious and interesting with these books. I just saw, I was actually just looking at your thing, and you're up 12K already in December, 7 days, 13K in the first
Yeah.
five. That's crazy. November was wild. He made 18K. So there's a lot of things here for us, for me, and for all of you to learn because this dude right here is absolutely destroying it. So I always say this in the beginning of the videos. If you already an Oddsjam user, you're gonna learn a couple things here, hopefully, or just kind of sit back and get entertained. Or if you have absolutely no idea what any of this is and you just randomly clicked on this video, well, you just struck gold, my guy. So, what's up, man? What's up, Smith? How's it going?
How's it going, man? Just
Oh,
chilling.
just chilling over here, man. So you're out in
Yeah.
Virginia, right?
Out in Virginia, yep, near Richmond.
Yeah, man. So first of all, congrats on those profits. That is very crazy, actually. Be up like 13K in the first week of December is definitely good, man. So I guess before we even get started into all the little details of your approach, how did you even get started with sports betting and plus EV betting and live arbitrage and all that stuff? How does it all start?
Well, for me, I have always been into poker. I started playing when I was like super young. My dad taught me when I was like six or something. I was playing online,
Oh,
and
wow.
obviously, I had no idea what I was doing. And I guess during lockdown, I got into playing with my friends a bunch and started watching some poker content. And then I thought, maybe I can do this. And I started playing when I turned 21. Started playing in a poker room near me, and then actually a little bit before 21 because it was 18 here. And then once I turned 21, I started playing in casinos, and I just studied a lot, read a couple books, and I was working at a job that I actually liked a lot, and I was making like 22 bucks an hour. It was pretty good. And then I got to the point where I started going to MGM on the weekends and I was making, 2 grand in a day. And I was thinking, well, why am I going to keep working for 22 bucks an hour when I'm making
Yeah.
$100 an hour playing poker? And so poker is pretty similar to EV betting. I mean, the same concepts apply. I mean, if you have an edge over the
Yep.
long term, you're going to make money. And
Yep.
there's a ton of stuff to research, a ton of free resources, YouTube and all kinds of stuff. And then I was playing poker. I was doing well, and then I stumbled across the Oddsjam YouTube channel, and I saw
Randomly?
what Alex was doing randomly. I mean, I guess my algorithm I mean, I was a lot of poker content, so I guess the gambling
Yeah.
side of things kind of got through to me. I saw a video of him placing bets, and he was showing how the math would work. So to me, I think most people that when they start sports betting, you either know a lot about sports and that's how you win, or you just hope to get lucky. And he was doing something that I hadn't seen before, which was getting into the EV of things. And he would place a $500 bet at a 1% EV, and he'd be like, I just made five
$5.
dollars placing that bet. And I had never thought of it like that. And obviously you can't make $5 from that bet. But
Yeah.
if you place a million of those bets, you'll make $5 every. And then I started thinking about it, and then yeah,
When was
once I
this?
turned
2 years ago? A year?
21, I this was this was years ago, and I forgot about it. And then um, I watched that video a couple years ago, and then forgot about it, and then kind of stumbled back across it. And I honestly don't even know how I You know what? I actually do know. A buddy that I play poker with, my friend Bryce, he started telling me about these Twitter guys that were calculating the boosts, like Promo
Yeah.
Guy Michigan. There's a bunch of accounts, and I still follow them. I still use them, and they were just calculating boosts. And I got to the point where I did that for a couple weeks, and it was successful. But I didn't want to be betting, 8 or 9 bets a day. I wanted to be betting more than that and making more money.
Yeah.
And then I guess that led me to Oddsjam, and so I started Oddsjam in March 7th. So
This year?
it's actually been this year. So I guess today would be 9 months.
Oh wow, look at that. 9 month anniversary.
And
Baby is born.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. And I just did some math before I called you. I think I'm up $86,000 in 9 months. So
Wow, man.
going
Well,
pretty well.
congratulations, man. That's some sick profit. Did you even expect to be making
Yeah.
this much, like when you started?
No,
Or
definitely not. Yeah, I thought it was going to be something I would do kind of on the side. I was going to try to play poker and then try to see how this goes. And then I realized that this is so much easier. I don't have to travel and I don't have to be like constantly on my A game. I could just mindlessly be placing bets all day. So yeah, I guess November of last year I kind of quit working, started playing poker, and then up until March I was playing, and then I found this and I was like,
this is it.
I think I made like I think I made like 6 grand the first month, and then I was like, I'll be able to scale this and keep doing better. So
So you
it's
brought
just been
over
experimenting, figuring out the best way to do it. But I love it, man. It's so fun.
nice. So you brought over your bankroll from poker into sports betting, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. Not the full thing. I kind of started smaller just because I didn't really know what it was going to be like.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then after I saw the first month, I was like, yeah, I feel pretty confident that I'll be able to um, keep increasing my bankroll.
Wow. Well, how much was that when you started? When you share that? How much was the bankroll?
Yeah, the first bankroll I started with was $2,500, and that
Oh,
was maybe like I don't know 20 days, and then I made it 5 grand, and then I did that for like a week, and then I made it 10 grand, and then I was at 10 for a while.
wow. Okay. So it's you've just been compounding all year,
Yeah,
nonstop.
yeah, I started to get to that point, and then I'm sure you've run into those same issue, but when you hit limits,
Yep.
it doesn't it's not really as lucrative to keep increasing your bankroll. So you kind of hit a point where like I'm not really betting what I want to bet on everything. It's just kind of what they're going to let me get down. Some
Yeah.
books obviously are better than others, and some bets are obviously better than others, but it's not like you can just keep scaling it up, or else we'd all be billionaires by now.
Yeah, that's what happens. Well, now that you're, in those big 5 figure days, well, months that you even started, you're just trying to get as much down. I saw that you started live arbing, right? You
No,
started
I
doing
started live EV betting. I don't
okay.
really do the ARBs. I've seen them on
Live betting,
Twitter.
yeah.
Though. Um, People on Twitter are crushing on the live ARBs. But yeah, I don't do any ARBs just because I feel like that brings more attention. Because the
Okay.
bets have to be so big to make as much as you want to make. So I'm pretty much just all EV. But yeah, the other night I've had the platinum plan for a couple months, and I don't really do a ton of live stuff just because it's tough to get the bets in, and
Mhm.
it's hard to know kind of exactly where you're at.
Yeah, it's a
But I
definitely
did
learning
the other
curve.
night. Yeah, yeah, and yeah, I crushed the other night. So I was like, maybe I'll start doing this more.
Yeah, I saw that. You like so you're like just testing it and you made yeah, I saw that. So you're doing live EV betting, right?
Yeah, yep.
That's actually the first person that I've met that is doing live EV betting. It's either people doing DFS or plus EV pregame, live Rs, pregame Rs, but you're doing live EVR betting. Like, do you want to
So
share a little bit?
most of the time I'm doing pre-match, obviously, like all day I'm on, pre-match EV betting, but
Yeah.
then, you can only bet for so long. And then once all the games Like you got NBA that starts at like 7, and then there's games all night. And then with football starting, yeah, I just figured like you feel like you can only really get bets in until 7. So then I was like, let me just try out and see like what the live stuff looks like. And yeah, there's only, a couple books that are gonna be able to let you bet as much as you want to be betting. And it seems like with live bets, the market is so much more volatile because they have less time to update. So you're getting these monster plays that are, like with the Kelly bankroll, you're not supposed to go over 5 units, but you're hitting a couple 5 unit max plays. So
Maxing them out. Have you have like
yeah,
better experience with like live betting limits? Like high, they're like get increased, or they usually like stay on the same?
I don't have a ton of experience, but from what happened the other night, it seems like they are increased. At least on like, I mean, I was using like Caesars doesn't. I have no limits on Caesars, so they're pretty much fine with whatever. DraftKings, I'm limited on player props, but like main lines and even like alt spreads and alt totals, I'm pretty much able to bet whatever. But the FanDuel limits seem to increase when I was live betting. So I'll
Okay.
have to play around with that more. But
Oh, okay. Well, it's really good to know because, you know, definitely something good to see if when people are start getting limited, pregame that you might think, oh, it's over. Like live, the threshold increases. So definitely like dive into that once you
yeah,
become more experienced.
I would definitely recommend it. I mean, I had a great experience with it. Obviously, it's not going to be, you're not going to make 9K every night, but I mean,
It's still good
I,
though.
yeah, I mean,
1K
even
every
if you're
night is
making,
still.
yeah, even if you're making a couple $100, I mean, it's still great.
Yeah, we kind of like you kind of I feel like there's something going on here with not people that start, getting really heavy into EV betting and already are months in and months in. You're like you have one day where you're like, oh, I made 2K or like made 1K, and you kind of like forget like not difficult, but how in like a regular kind of job or like a service or whatnot, what it would have taken to make that same amount of money,
Yeah,
like an effort and something to like not take ever for granted is just how there's like a glitch in the matrix right now with all of this. I feel like there's like a money glitch in the matrix where just
yeah,
like the people that are like seriously taking advantage of this are really, really making a lot of money. And let's not forget how the other side of the coin is like traditional money making with business or whatever. That it's like, wow, I just clicked a bunch of buttons, did some math, and I just made like a K or 2K. It's not as easy,
yeah,
simple as that as it sounds. You do get there. People that are just starting, obviously it's going to be a little bit of a learning curve, but you will get there. There's hundreds and hundreds of people, sharps doing this like that, and which is truly magical, man. What do you think?
I agree with you 100%. You definitely, I mean, when you're doing, and for me, like I consider this my job until I'm not making the money that I'm making. Like, if the limits get too bad, I'll find something else. But for now, like, this is what I'm doing. And you definitely, I mean, you forget, like, when you go to work and it's like, oh, cool, I made $500 a week. And then now, if I'm not making $500 a day, I'm like, oh, that's a rough day, Like, you forget, like, and honestly, like, to me, it is work, and it's not like it's like a ton of fun, but it's super easy. Anybody can do it, and I mean, if you put the work in and you're able to get good volume, there's no reason why. I mean, everybody should do it if you have the discipline, some money to start with. I mean, like you said, it does feel like a money glitch for now. I mean,
Yeah,
who knows what the future holds? For
yeah,
now, I mean, it seems like this is the best way to do things.
right. Yeah, definitely. Like super, super. Yeah, like I feel like there's some pressure that you kind of like have to apply in yourself to just kind of like understand like, hey, who knows how long this will last. EV betting has been around for a long time, obviously, and just the concept of EV and edges, and there's professional bettors that have been doing this for years before and will continue to do it, and you always find a way once you get involved in this world. But for now, the way it's all kind of like served in a silver platter. And I do even see Oddsjam continuing to upgrade and continuing to like up their game and like kind of like update. So like yeah, who knows, man? Like this this could last a very long time because it's been around
Yeah,
and
I
there's
mean,
still a lot in the state. It's not even fully legal in the whole states. So like there's
yeah,
still like a lot to do, a lot to make.
yeah, exactly. I mean, who knows too? With I mean, I guess the main constrictor would be limits, and
But then you go
I don't.
syndicate
I mean,
mode.
obviously, yeah, obviously I'm biased, but limits don't seem exactly super fair to me. And
Oh
maybe there
yeah.
will be something in the future where some legislation will get passed, and maybe they'll tell the books, "Hey, I mean, you're picking on losers and you're stopping winners. That doesn't seem very fair." Um,
Yeah.
but maybe one day, like books like Fliff, for example, like I mean, it's kind of a bad example for me personally, but up until about a month ago, I mean, you have the same max bet as everybody else. I mean, everybody can bet $250, winner or loser. Um, Obviously, I just mentioned they've just banned me a month ago from betting on there, but
Really?
I
Oh,
mean, the idea of having a max bet and whether you win or you lose, the books honors that. It would be a cool concept. But obviously, I'm biased. I don't like limits, and they don't like losing money. So,
wow. So how long did you even let, how much were you able to pull out of Fliff before they banned you?
well, they let me pull out everything, so I didn't lose
Okay.
any money, but they just basically said, we're not going to accept your cash stakes. But luckily, I
Okay.
mean, I could still bet with those Fliff coins, which are just, you know,
Mickey Mouse Monopoly Cash.
yeah,
It feels like you're playing Monopoly with all the things that are like this, just the colors and their overall thing. So you do this full
yeah,
time.
it's a yeah.
So you're living off of this basically since the year started, and you don't plan on stopping until
Yeah, I mean,
remove your
I will do
legs,
this. What'd you say? The last part?
until the books remove your hands.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm gonna keep doing this until they stop letting me do it. Obviously, I've been limited on a ton of books, but if I'm still making, enough money to where I'm happy, then the way that I'm kind of seeing it is like I'll use this and make as much money as possible and set myself up for the rest of my life going forward. I mean, it feels like you said, like I've
Yeah,
explained before, it's like it's an infinite money glitch until it stops. So make as much as I can now. And
yeah,
then if I come out of this thing with, 100 or 200, 300, however it meant, like I'll use that for the rest of my life.
yeah. I mean, Alex Monahan, one of the
Yeah,
CEOs,
yeah,
like he's still doing it, and he's up over
yeah,
a mil according to his Twitter. So like the grind never ends, man. But he's a freaking
yeah.
grind beast, though. He's on it all day.
Yeah, I mean, he's a different breed. I don't know if I'll ever hit those numbers, but yeah, I mean, dude, he's inspiring though. I mean, the fact that he's still going, he's made as much as he has, and he's still going. It's inspiring. I mean, it gives you hope that like you're going to be able to keep doing it. So,
Yeah, that's something. Yeah, once that's always with something with like humans and records. Like once a record is set, like it always gives like the rest of humanity like, hey, like you could even do more and do more, and it just
yeah,
like it's good to have a reference up there with all the sharps that are just insanely talented and insanely. I don't even know if the word is talent. There is definitely talent, but like more like dedication to the craft
yeah,
because
yeah.
like that's you could always prove. So yeah, let's go over like a little bit about your process. You want to share your screen and see how you kind of like analyze a bet, what you look
Um,
at.
yeah, I can do that. Do I
Yeah,
need to do anything? I just hit
just hit
share
share
screen.
screen and
Okay,
yeah,
so I'll go here.
perfect.
Okay, you can see that.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So my process is super simple. I have the platinum plan, so I always have the play on,
Yeah.
and I only have two filters. I have a 50 width filter, which is going to be 99% of my bets. And then I have this bonus bets filter for, when you get your no sweat bet back, and that's basically just no width. So
Yeah.
obviously a big EV play, but 115 width. It's not going to hit often, but they're going to hit enough where you're going to pay for your bonus bets.
Yeah.
But basically, my daily process, I'm basically just on this 50 width filter, and I'll just hit as many of these as possible. I have my books that I can bet enough where it's worth it for me, which, you know, I'm probably down to Bally's probably no good. and Fanatics is probably no good, so I'm down to like 7 or 8 books. Um, yeah, I'll just go through and I'll hit as many of these as possible.
Do you care about
And
the odds? You just go crazy. Do you have any filters, any like thresholds, or like you don't
so,
even?
so for me, the width is at 50, and that will limit the odds to
Mhm.
a certain extent. So like these like DraftKings ones are super rare. Most of the bets that you're going to be hitting are going to be like these 110, 120, 125. Um, but the problem with limiting odds, in my opinion, this no vig odds, you don't want to limit yourself to be hitting like plus 250 maximum, because imagine if this no vig odds is like 215 and a bet pops up at 250. I don't want to, price myself out of a chance to hit like a big bet. And I was
Yeah.
talking to someone on Twitter. I had a live bet the other day that was under 50 width, and it was plus 300, and it hit. I mean, like the books sometimes just price them badly, and I don't want to not hit a big bet just because the odds are maybe too high.
Yeah.
And
Definitely.
personally, my method, I am more about like volume. So I don't sit here and analyze like it's nice to have like these odds to compare to, but I mean I've been using this for 9 months. I trust that this tool is profitable, and I know that some days are going to be negative days, but generally I know that this works. So if this is telling me that I could put $170 on this, I will do it. And it's been working. So I totally understand that people want to double check and try to, make sure that the bet is actually how it should be.
Yeah.
Um, but I trust the tool, and it's done really well for me. And I would hate to miss out on a huge play trying to double check the odds, and I would rather just be like,
Devigging a different book and all that stuff. You're just like, this is the EV from Oddsjam EV tool, and you just trust it. You don't do any extra devigging or any of this stuff.
yeah,
You just
I
go
don't do.
at it.
I'll do more of the like devigging, like math stuff on like the boosts,
Yeah.
and like calculating the parlays and stuff. I'll just use the calculators that are on Oddsjam, and I'll use the screen to kind of find plays like that. But when I'm just doing the EV betting, like if I had to go devig this lightning bet myself, and then I missed this Brooke Lopez under. I mean, it just for me, I'm just gonna hit both. If even if this bet ends up being bad, it could still hit. It doesn't. It's not ideal, but it's not like you're gonna lose $170 immediately. Like
Yeah.
for me, I'm more about.
Volume and how many bets are you getting in a day? Do you like do you can you show us your bet tracker maybe?
Yeah, I can do
Or
that. You're gonna catch me because I've been a little bit lazy the last couple days.
you've been lazy, but you're still up $12,000.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's good variance.
16, forget that.
Yeah, I had a good day yesterday. But yeah, this is like a slow day for me, around 70 or so.
That's
Uh,
slow.
yeah, I try to get like, I don't know, maybe around 100. Um, yeah, like I said, I've been lazy this month. I've been running hot, but I haven't been betting as much as I should. Like this day is a better example. Like I try to get over 100 bets. If I can try to get like 10K down a day, I'm pretty happy with that. Um, but
Yeah.
obviously, the more the better. Like, so if I go to last month, the day that I was probably like the most like proud of, and I feel like I kind of deserved like a big day was this day,
Monday.
November 6th.
You hit like 300 bets or something?
Yeah, I had,
150.
well, it was like, what is that, 150 ish? And
Yeah,
I bet
150.
21 and a half grand. So that's like
Oh, we got 10
um,
minutes. Okay, I'll set another one in 10 in like 8 minutes or so. No problem.
okay. But yeah, I mean, this was a huge day.
21K. Jesus, dude.
Um,
21K on the line. Somebody's like almost yearly salary minimum wage, I think. In like a day up
yeah,
gamble.
it doesn't feel like it when you're betting that much, but yeah,
Right? You forget it. It's all mental. Like I feel like, once like the numbers are all it's just all mental. Like if you have access to a big bankroll and like obviously in the beginning you're gonna be a little uh like doubt like, hey, does this really work? But then you're throwing it up every day. It's all mental. It's all a
Yeah,
mental
yeah,
game.
and like I said earlier, but like playing poker, it kind of gets you into that mindset already. So going into this, it was a really smooth transition of like I'm kind of used to putting thousands of dollars on the line, and I mean
Yeah.
this is even less risky to me because I mean I'm not betting $11,000 on one thing. Whereas poker, I mean you can go all in and you can lose thousands of dollars in a second. This is kind of like I'm betting 70 bets. Like, I'm not going to lose all of them, you know?
Yeah. And you're hitting long odds, man. Like you're just all about volume and like just repetition, flipping the coin a million times.
Yeah.
And you're going down to even like 0.98% EV. Like
Yeah.
you're not conservative at all. You're not caring about that. It's just like if there's value, push it. I get
Yeah.
it.
I could show you my dashboard too to give you kind of like a better idea of like
Yeah.
total profit. And so, like, the thing that's really interesting to me is like if this will load, the
Yeah,
profit
it'll
margin
load. That's super high, dude.
wager is
That's
the thing.
super high.
It's super high. Um,
For 14,000 bets, that's super high, dude. That's freaking.
yeah, and I think that's kind of just down to like trusting it. Like I know that this like it was honestly like around seven. I spent 2 months kind of trying to experiment. I think it was like maybe June, nope, not June, maybe July and August, where you can see I had a losing month in July. But if I show you like the kind of bets I was placing, I was placing bets that were no width, and I was just doing all no width, just to see like you can see here, this is a 14% EV plus 560 play. These
Yeah.
don't hit a lot. And I was just kind of experimenting to see how important is it? Is the paramount thing, do you just want to hit EV bets? Is that the biggest thing? Or do you need to take into consideration the odds to an extent? And I did a couple months of this and I feel like where I'm at right now, I
Yeah,
think
how was
50
August?
August was also bad. A little bit better, but it was still not great.
You're still testing that super high like odds and yeah,
I
okay.
wanted to give it a fair shot. And the thing is, I think that this would be profitable long term. I just don't think that it's possible to place enough bets where you're going to see the profit. So I think if you were able to place 10,000 bets a day, you would be able to see profit from this. But we're human. We don't have enough time to do that. So I kind of went into September and I was kind of doing the same thing. And then around sometime late September, I decided to start experimenting with like, okay, so I do know that width is important, but what's the mark of how high can I get it where I'm still making profit and maximizing my profit, but what's the line of like, okay, this is where it starts being too risky.
Okay.
Um, so I spent October experimenting, and then towards the end of October, you can see I kind of started to figure it out with, big day on the 25th, big day on the 30th. And so during October, I had multiple filters set up where I started out doing 40 width, so I knew that 40 width was profitable. And then I decided I'm going to see, is 40 to 50, is that range going to be profitable? Is 50 to 60 profitable? 60 plus, or any of those profitable? Um, yeah, and then I found out that I think 50 width, it's a little bit more aggressive than like if you just started Oddsjam and you're on the recommended. I think that one is like but I think it's 25. Um,
Yeah, it's super conservative, definitely. I'm not sure
it's
how low it goes, but yeah, you definitely get like very much less. It's
yeah.
kind of the
So
diminished variance for like people starting out that are like don't want to like you're still going to through variance no matter what, like
yeah,
someday, but it's kind of to like lower that possibility.
yeah, and I think um, I think if you're able to get through like my first day ever doing Oddsjam, I lost. You know, but then
Yeah.
you go on a run of 7 days winning, and it's like if you can get through the variance and kind of I think maybe Randall told me when I first started, if you can do like 250 bets, um, you'll be able to see a profit. And if not, then you're doing something wrong. And I think if you're just starting Oddsjam, get to 250 bets before you freak out. But also, if you're just starting, the filters, like I would say don't overdo it. 50 width, I've experimented with it. For me, that's what works. Other people, I mean, if you feel like you can do something else, that's fine. But personally, I think this is probably the most optimal way to do it from my research. Um,
Yeah. And
yeah,
also
and
if
then
you're hitting
from
over 100 bets a
volume.
day,
What did you say?
and also like mixing it in of heavy volume of 150 bets a day, because
Yeah,
if you have these like super like, you're hitting like plus 200s or whatnot, and you're hitting, 5 or 7 or 10, 15, 20 a day, you're gonna need like a whole month at least, very least, to even like, judge it properly.
yeah,
um
for sure. Yeah, so the key for me is just volume is the key. If you can get and obviously all of these bets on the EV page are going to be good. If I go down to the bottom here, like these bets down here, like I'm not going to go put $1 on this. I'm just like if it gets better, I'll look at it, but really if I'm not really going to be looking anything below 50 or half a percent, I guess I should say.
yeah, what do you have your
Um,
bankroll set there at in the OddsJam settings to
It's
get the?
at so I have my bankroll at 20K and my Kelly multiplier at 0.5, which
You're
is also aggressive, but I think that's the best way to do it. It's not overly aggressive, but it's the highest of where you want to be. You don't really want to be higher than 0.5. Um, but yeah, and then bankrolls at 20K, it's kind of um, it doesn't matter as much in the sense of like I'm not gonna be able to bet $450 on this. They just won't let me. Recently, they've been limiting me. Like I'll probably be able to bet $17.50 on this. Um, but some books. So I'll be able to bet this for 170 if I wanted to. But yeah, I mean, with the limits, you're not really. It's tough to say like how many units I'm up because I don't get to bet what I want to bet. It's if I was up, if I had $1,000 bankroll, I would be up, 10,000 units or whatever. But I can't bet unit wise. I have to do it with what the limits allow me to.
Yeah, well, this is definitely very interesting because I've interviewed a couple, like, like 14 people so far, and every single one has such a different approach in the sense of just it's all plus AV at the end, but in the sense of how their odds ranges, like using this book as a sharp, devigging their own line, devigging Pinnacle, doing like calculations outside of this, using the odds jams plus EV tool to just pull data, but not necessarily using that data. So this is the first time I see somebody, and that's not like I've talked to a lot of people, but that just completely 100% like like huge odds doesn't matter with the 50 width, which is good, still up there, really it's still up there as far as like a pretty big width. Everybody has a different approach to this. It's all EV at the end of the day. You overpower those long odds, like placing over 100 bets a day on average, which is, that's a full-time thing right there. Do you have like a
Mhm.
routine that you go through like every day when you wake up? Like, how does that look
Yeah,
like?
I definitely have a routine. And I have a couple friends that I have on Oddsjam, and I try to preach this to them too. My routine kind of looks like this. So I'll start by going through my bet tracker. Any bet that has gone below closing line value, I will try to cash it out if they'll let me cash it out for exactly what I place it at. So if you lose any money on cash out, just leave it. But if you can cash out anything that went below CLV, cash it out. And then from there, I'll go and do all the promos on the books. So I'll look at FanDuel boosts, DraftKings boosts, and Caesars bets. Um, and if you don't want to do all that, there's a ton of guys on Twitter to follow.
That's
I follow
actually,
most of them.
sorry to interrupt you right there, but cashing out bets that have negative CLV is genius. I don't know why I never thought of that. If they let you obviously cash out without losing anything, I don't know why
Yeah.
I never thought of that. I just kind of like let them ride. That's something that I'm gonna start doing now.
Yeah.
Cash out those negative CLV bets without a loss,
Yeah.
or if you could
If
arb
you
out of it, maybe. But yeah, let me. Yeah,
Yeah, there may be a way to do that. I just feel like if I'm able to, if it wouldn't show up on my EV page that day, then it's almost like I never placed it, you know? Um, Lines
because your
change, and
CLV
if
is
you're
pretty
putting,
high.
what'd
Um,
you say?
if you want to go
My
share your screen
percentage?
again, yeah, you're from your bet
Yeah.
tracker, your CLV was super high, which kind of makes sense now with the cashing them out. Um, so like every day you'll have to cash out a couple, or it just varies.
So if the more I can cash out, the better. But usually like FanDuel will let me cash out a lot of the times if their line hasn't moved a ton. Yeah, it's 76%.
Super
So as
high.
long as that's above 55%, you're good. But
Yeah.
yeah, so I guess I can show you now. Like, I'll go through my tracker and just make sure everything's green. This one I've been trying to cash out for a couple days. That the odds are, or the money is like I'll lose money doing that, so I'll let it ride. Um, but you can see most of these are going to be green. Just this one, like the odds change so much that so that's kind of the problem when you take a bet early. But on the flip side, you get something like this where it's like now this is 155, I got it at 186. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'll just go through. That's part of my routine. I'll do that first. I'll go do all the boosts, all the promos, and then I'm pretty much on the EV page, hitting as much as I can. Um, and then I guess now after live betting, I'll probably flip over to this once games have started and just try to hit as many of these as possible. But it's super simple. I try not to overcomplicate it, and I try to keep it, as mindless as possible, so it doesn't feel like, you know, I'm working. It feels like I'm just doing what I got to do.
Yeah. Well, pretty much that sums it up with your strategy and how you and your approaches, bro. It sounds very methodic, simple, kind of just the hours in, obviously betting it. So as far as
Yeah.
the betting routine, like you'll just so you like wake up at like you have like a certain time you wake up, like as far as like your actual day to day, how do you want to share a little bit about how that goes for somebody that's doing this full time? How does that look like?
Yeah, so I don't have like a set time. I think part of the thing that I enjoy so much about doing this is I have the freedom to do whatever I
Yes.
want.
Preach.
Um, and that's kind of like why I got into this. So I feel like whenever I want, I will be betting. Usually I want to be betting. So when I wake up, I'll do my morning routine, whatever I need to do, if I have to run any errands or whatever. But then I'll just hop on. I'll be betting until lunchtime around 1. I'll eat some lunch and then I'll put on a podcast or whatever, a movie, and then I'll just go back to betting until I don't want to bet anymore. It's literally that simple. And for me, like I don't have blank days in my Oddsjam tracker because I'm pretty much betting. Like I have bets that are going to settle all day, so there's not really any like days off in terms of like, oh, I have no bets out there today. I'll always have bets out there. Um, but if I don't feel like betting that day, I don't have to. I mean, that's kind of the whole point of like I'm gonna make as much money doing this, but I'm also like I'm 22 and I get to do whatever I want and I make a lot of money doing it. So like, why not enjoy doing what I want to do? That's
Yeah.
kind of, I mean, it's boring, but it's kind of what I do.
No, that's you're married to the hustle, man. 22. Wow. That's amazing, bro. Most 22-year-olds are still in crazy college debt. Um, did you go to college or any of that stuff or no?
I went to community college and I got an associate's degree. I didn't want to go to college because I didn't want to be in a bunch of debt. Um,
Yeah.
if I need to go one day, I'll go and do my last 2 years. But for now, I mean, I'm gonna keep doing this until I can't anymore, and then
You'll
who
find a
knows?
way.
Yeah, maybe I'll have enough money to start a business or do whatever I want to do without having to go spend another 50K on a piece of paper.
Yeah, yeah. You'll be fine, bro. Trust me, there'll always be something. There will always be something. And if you're just constantly, improving in the sense of just like what else is out there, or like at least always curious about it, um, like, there's always stuff to find, especially with the new world of EV, live, like live betting, whether
Yeah,
ARBs or plus EV. I feel like, you've seen that your limits increased, which is sick. Um,
yeah,
and then going into the whole like in the future, how like the big ballers are doing it. There's always, betting partners and syndicates that, start looking for people and stuff like that. All legal, by the way. It's all legalized. And so there'll always be a way just in case you can want to continue this. Um,
yeah.
and break that 100K threshold and make multiple six figures a year because there's a lot of people doing it. I don't know if you've ever seen the Spencer Cornelia video on YouTube where he goes to a betting syndicate. If you haven't, I'm gonna send it to you. It's very interesting. Basically, like
You should. I have not seen that.
he shows people with burner phones like how a whole operation is kind of run. Um, and this is yeah, very interesting. So it's like there's people that do this and continue to do this and have done this for many years.
Yeah,
Um, So I guess we gotta like, we'll do like 5 or 10 more minutes, kind of like summarize this, finalize this. So like, you said your dad is, big poker player. So like, what do your friends and family think of this? You said you have friends that, you put onto Oddsjam.
yeah.
What does that look?
Um, well, my dad, I the thing about him is he's not maybe the best gambler in the world. He loves it. He's not great at it. Um,
Okay.
and he got me into it. And the reason I got into Oddsjam in the first place was I was sports betting, and I actually have a story too. The first time I ever placed a bet, I was 18, and I'm a big soccer fan. You can see I got a Man United jersey.
Oh yeah,
Um,
I'm a Liverpool fan. So what's up?
uh, all right, I gotta go. I can't tell you this
I
story
gotta go, bro.
anymore. The first time I ever placed a bet, I placed a 10 leg parlay on the Premier League slate. There was an opening weekend. There were 10 games. I placed a 10 leg parlay on all 10 games and I hit it. The first ever bet. I put $1 to win like $280 or something. So from there, I was like, wow, this is so easy. I know more than the books. I love soccer. I've studied it. I know everything. And then I mean, you win the first one and then you lose and lose and lose. And I got to the point where before I started EV betting, I was tracking how much I was down. I didn't have a lot of money. I was down maybe like 3.5 grand. And I got to the point where I was like, I'm either going to have to stop sports betting, like this is not good, or I'm going to have to find a way to win. And that's kind of what led me to Oddsjam was like, I don't want to stop doing this. Let me find a way to do it and make it profitable. So back to the question, I guess that was just a little anecdote, but back to the original question, my family is super supportive. My dad wishes he could do this, and my mom will support me through whatever I do. She's super supportive. She thinks it's awesome. And my friends, I mean, two of my really close friends have one of them uses Oddsjam as like a side hustle. The other one has kind of like been in and out of it. He's been in school, so he's gonna start doing it more coming up. Um, but yeah, I've always been someone that wants to share like what I'm doing with my friends and have them, if I'm doing well, I want them to be doing well. So I've always been someone that wants to like help them out if I can. So I'll try to put them on as much as possible. And, I mean, I'm always happy to help. Even I've been posting on Twitter and stuff. Like that's how you and I met is like I enjoy when people ask me questions, like trying to help them. I
Yeah.
feel like I have some experience enough to share. I don't think I'm like the authority on it, but I'm making money doing it in a very simple way, I feel like, and I feel like I can help people. So I'd like to do that.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you. I'm gonna leave your Twitter, your social here in the description, so people that want to connect with Smith. I don't know what it's full. I mean, we'll just call you Smith.
That's my
Um,
name. Yeah, you can call me
yeah,
that.
yeah. um, definitely, reach out to him. Thank you for sharing your approach, bro. you know,
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on.
and yeah. Any final words? I kind of want to say the for those that are thinking that, the plunger odds or whatnot, don't really work, or not that don't work, but that are just kind of like, hey, I want to stick more to like more even odds. Here's another example of well, here's your one example of a guy that pushes it up there and beats it with 100 plus bets a day. So that's the thing there, right? Hit more volume, and
Yep.
just keep going, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Any final words before we, clip?
I don't think so. I think I'm all good. Appreciate you having me on. This was fun.
All right, guys. See you guys in the next episode. Peace out.